Hello everybody, welcome back to Let's Play Hearts of Iron 4 Kaiserreich, United Baltic Duchy. Let us continue on from where we last left off. So, in about, what was that, like 20 days, 30 days, 34 days, the second Weltkrieg will begin. We're also currently at war with the Chinese, because, you know, that's just lovely, you know, great. I love being at war with people all across the world. Thank you, Germany, for making the war bigger than it needs to be. Actually, I think it was technically, the United Clique that declared the war. Either way, this is not the situation we wanted to find ourselves in. I think we can be, I think that's obvious. We would have liked a more stable, like, you know, kind of situation for the Reichspakt than being in a massive conflict. But I guess for right now. Also, the fact that Finland or Sweden are in the faction as well kind of hurts us a little bit. I mean, hopefully when Sweden wins, or Finland, I mean, probably Finland at this point. But hopefully, as soon as Finland wins their war, they will join the Reichspakt and at least make the front line with the Russians a little bit bigger. I'm still worried that they will just smash their way across my front line and murder me. Which would be, I don't think I need to explain it, bad. Germany at least has a lot of troops against Poland, so that should be a pretty easy conquest. The French aren't actually looking like they have that many men on the front line. Luckily, Spain has joined the war before the war begun, so that at least creates a situation where France has a bigger front line, and Italy actually losing their war here does benefit us a great deal as well. Maybe the Italian Federation would also would like to jump in this war, which would create another front line and just make things maybe go the way I want them to. We won't worry about this for now. But, you know, we're very close. 12 days. Less than 2 weeks. Hopefully Ukraine, Germany, Lithuania, and Ruthenia are able to punish the Polish strongly enough to not dissuade them, I guess, from joining the war. Because they're going to join the war no matter what. But we can kill them off easily enough. The Constitutional Convention. One of the key promises raised by Paul Sheiman in the Baltic German Democratic Party is a draft and proliferation of a modern constitution for the United Baltic Duchy, one which will sweep away the antiquated structure of the country for good. After years of hard labor and plus reforms, it appears the rest of the nation has been convinced to follow suit. 300 delegates have gathered in the House of Livonian Knighthood in Riga to form the Constitutional Convention of the United Baltic Duchy. Each canton delegated 20 representatives, 10 were delegated by the burghers of the city of Riga, 100 have been elected by all the male citizens of the Duchy by partisan list, and 70 have been delegations of pressure groups such as the 4 Baltic Knighthoods, landowning nobility, and ethnic minorities. Duke Adolf Friedrich and his family have chosen to personally attend the convention, and Sheiman invented numerous legal experts from Germany who have acted as advisors to the delegates. A new chapter in Baltic history is about to unfold. Just in time for the biggest war in human history. So, you know what? 2 thumbs up for us. The Sheiman speech. Throughout the past 2 years, the Baltic German Democratic Party has assumed a dominant role in the country. Because of this, the party has ballooned in numbers, and while these new recruits are welcome, they also dilute Paul Sheiman's message. Many of them believe in Western-style liberal democracy, whose equalization represents of every person stands against the ideal of a meritocratic statehood. Now that the Constitutional Convention has begun, he is raised to the podium of the party headquarters to make a speech and set the party in the right track. There he has spoken about the need of education of mankind, and the Baltic specifically, the simple fact of life that it falls upon the educated and the professional to lead. In no other situation would the voice of a professor and cleaning maid be of the same weight, and so they should not have the same weight in politics. For the good of the Baltics, the corporate meritocratic system needs to be put in place in the Constitutional Convention, no matter what it takes. The elderly politician has said his word, and now it falls on the audience to decide whether or not to follow him or declare a soft coup in the Democratic Party. Base ability +5. This will limit our option in the convention to ensure it adheres to Sheiman's vision. Or we lose 10% stability and lose... Well, you know what? The audience cheers in favor. We'll kind of see how this plays out. Sheiman, he's done a lot of stuff, you know? He dealt with the forest builders. He dealt with a dualism problem. So I think it makes sense that maybe he would have more political sway than he otherwise would have if he had done this event a little bit earlier. The preamble. For any articles of the Constitution are listed, the preamble stands, and it is the most important part of any convention. It does not define any concrete laws or regulations, but instead sets the goals for the Constitution and for what purposes it has been drafted. In essence, it sets a tone for the rest of the document, which one which no article can violate. There are several prevailing notions on what the theme of the preamble and thus the rest of the Constitution should be, down specific wording of each sentence. We'll draft a Constitution towards a crowned republic. So basically like a constitutional monarchy, which I think makes perfect sense for what we kind of have done. The ultimatum is now going to go through. France has declared war on the Commune. Was not expecting them to do it so early. Actually, I wasn't expecting them to do it before the main war began. We will go for you, even though it's going to take an entire year. The Alsace ultimatum. Will they give it up? The answer is no, because the AI, I think, always refuses. And the war has begun. Second Weltkrieg is here. Germany, do not take any troops off the Polish border. I swear to God. Okay, you're taking some, but you're not taking all of them, which I think is better than I expected. Poland might not even join the war because they're going to be a little bit too worried about how many troops are on their border. The distribution of power. The semi-constitutional procedure of the United Baltic Duchy up to this point established it as a federated system divided into several cantons, or crises, which have their own legislators and enjoys considerable powers in the economic, social, and judicial policy. Though ensuring the stability of the country and allowing greater local self-management of the duchy, it also slows down the government to a crawl. Constitutional Convention is a better time than any to define the nature of the government's relation to the constitutional provinces. What should the distribution of power in the country be? Should the balance be maintained, or should one or two sides receive the upper hand? More political power? No, we want more stability, please, and thank you. Political power, I don't think matters too much. Prepare for war. We received the alarming word from the German Empire that Russian troops are currently amassing, and that a great deal of reconnaissance is taking place across the German border. The military officials say that it's clear that the Russian state is planning to invade the German Empire, one that can begin at any time within the next several weeks. Yay! Woohoo! I love getting invaded by Russians. Which will happen very, very, very soon if I had to take it. Denmark is not social democratic, so they should not leave the faction. Italy has not actually joined the Internationale. Poland, okay, Poland did join the war. Austria is not involved quite yet, but they could get involved sooner rather than later. Why was there a German tank unit in southern Poland? How did you get there? I do not know. What I'm hoping, of course, the ethno-linguistic policy. The United Baltic Duchy is a country inhabited by the Baltic Germans as well as the Latvians and the Estonians. And up until this point, the former held privileges and powers which the latter were unable to enjoy. Questions such as the linguistic policy of the state and the rights enshrined in the Constitution and how the universally should be are being raised in the halls of the convention. Paul Sheiman was quick to bring up his concept of the Anatolian state, which does not discriminate by ethnicity and treats nationality as something beyond the affairs of the state. What should the Constitution say about the country's ethnic and linguistic policy, if anything? Consumer good needs, stability. Yeah, we'll do you. We have now been called into the war, which is not a big surprise. We have no say in that whatsoever. Lithuania has joined. Ukraine has joined. I mean, the Reichspakt is looking pretty good, all things considered. And Poland really shouldn't be in a position to really survive, since we're already pushing our way through here. Like, this area near Plock would be very, very easy for us to kill. Of course, I'm not sending troops down there. You're out of your goddamn mind if you think I'm sending men down there. I can barely garrison my own front, so... And France is already sending troops down to here. Portugal is in the Entente. So, I mean, the Internationale is in an absolutely massive conflict. And you're also technically at war with you guys down here as well. But South Africa, I don't think it's going to matter so much. France and Canada, of course, we can have an alliance with you. And the Landstag. Much like the adoption of the Constitution, the Landstag is enshrined as the legislative of the country, which is responsible solely for the people and upholds the legislative duties of the country. The question arises, however, what form the legislation should take. Should the Landstag be either ceremonial or bi-ceremonial? And if so, which of the houses should be elected or appointed by which method? Paul Sheiman, one again, offers his advice, and his proposal is to avoid the pitfalls of Western democracies and instead form a fully meritocratic legislator appointed from universities and the civic society based on education experience. What form should the Landstag take? Production efficiency or We definitely want more production efficiency. I think that's just better for us. Does that actually say here what it's going to do for us? Not quite. But it is going to remove Byzantine political system, which is just political power loss, which isn't that big of a deal. Natal's capitulated. Which doesn't matter so much. I mean, the Entente losing a bunch of men in South Africa does suck. Venezuela declaring war on the West Indies Federation does not help us. It's really just helping out the Internationale, which I would say is bad. And I don't know if Austria... Will you end up joining the Reichspakt? I don't really know, because they either join when the socialists take over most of Italy, or when Germany starts losing a lot of territory. So I think Austria joining the war is unlikely, at least for now. I don't know if it goes the other way, and if Russia takes a lot of territory, then they also join. The lines of accountability. The Constitution of the United Baltic Duchy shall abolish the offices of covenant, the land administrators, and replace them with this antiquated entity with the position of Chancellor, whose head of cabinet administers and serves as the executive of the country. The question, however, arises on the lines of accountability. That is, what should the relationship between the Chancellor, the Landstag, and the Duke be according to the Constitution? The question of the Chancellor appointed is the most pressing one, and while it may appear trivially a little to worry about the specifics of who appoints who and who gives assent, they may and will end up being critical down the line. The wording may grant greater power to one institution over the next, after all. So, political power or stability. Hey, guess what? I'm definitely going to take the stability. Any amount of stability is going to give me more factory output, which is much better than just more political power gain. We can't get war economy, though, right now, which is really nice. We'll take that. Poland is slowly being gobbled up, which will allow Germany to put more troops back on this front. Of course, the entire border with France is really, really defended. If I was Germany, I would prepare some naval invasion in Normandy, or maybe even a naval invasion into Britain. We'll kind of see how that plays out. And Finland and Sweden, if you were to stop your war and join the Reichspakt, I would be very, very much in favor of that. I mean, Russia hasn't... They haven't gone to war quite yet. But they will soon, and so much of this border is actually completely undefended. Yeah, the nobility. United Baltic Duchy is a state which was founded upon the backs of the Baltic German nobility, and they are unexplainably concerned about the role in which they'll hold in the new state. Paul Sheiman and the Baltic German Democratic Party are vehement in their opposition to any and all noble privileges remaining. The liberal consensus agrees that the Baltic knighthood should have no role in the government. The knighthoods remain powerful in our country, and the nobles certainly wish to keep their positions. Yeah, definitely we want more production efficiency. Thank you very much. I will take that. And we are very, very soon actually finishing up our convention. Poland will fall. Italy's joining Internationale. Which should mean, I think, 2 Sicilies then will join the Reichspakt or the Entente. But I'm feeling, yeah, they're going to join the Reichspakt more likely than not. And we'll see what the Italian Federation does. Will they declare war? Maybe. If we're lucky, they will. Because then we can get Austria involved as well. I mean, I guess they could have also joined the Austrian faction, but I think that's definitely much less likely than the alternative. And Germany actually pushing their way into even a single fortified province does mean a lot. Because now this area towards the north is substantially weaker than they would otherwise be. The emergency powers. There comes a time when safety of the country is threatened and a democracy faces issues either from within or without its borders. There can become times of war, internal strife, civil conflict, or natural disaster, which makes ordinary democratic procedure untenable in managing the state. In situations like these, the government can call a state of emergency and suspend some of the liberties in the Constitution in order to protect its citizens. Legitimate emergency powers have wide-reaching to ensure safety, or handicap it as much as possible in order to prevent a dictatorship. Definitely we want more recruitable population. That's not even a question. It's so much. We want that. And we're at war. So hopefully, when our constitution is finished, we can get more men. Even an extra, like, 10%. I think it's going to give us, like, another, like, a decent amount of more troops. And now Russia has declared war upon us. Which scares me. An incredible amount. So they're trying to push their way straight across. Not a big surprise here. Their attacks are pretty bad. We have 600 defense, so hopefully we can maybe maintain a little bit of strength here. We're holding out okay. I can't imagine Ukraine's going to survive that long. I think Ukraine is definitely going to die. How is China doing, by the way? I mean, as long as Germany is not focusing their attention there, I'm not too concerned about it. We have 300 units here. We have low air superiority. I imagine our aircraft's probably going to get shot down. We'll also crank you up to, let's say, 200. I don't know how many fighters I actually have in storage. Not a lot. I mean, a handful, but not a lot. Constitutional entrenchment. It should be expected of the Constitution to receive changes down the line. When the societal norms change and people create better alternatives to the system, or simply you want to iron out mistakes with the original legislators missed. To give future generations a free hand in changing the Constitution runs the risk of it being amended into something unrecognizable, or worse, a dictatorship. Should some of the articles be made fundamental and thus unchangeable by any amendable procedures, how free should procedures of the constitutional amendments be? Stability or political power? I mean, political power really is not that important. I'm already gaining 1.14, which I consider to be pretty good. The fact that you are pushing so hard into like a level 4 fortified province does scare me. I mean, Riga and them at least have fortifications of their own. So that's okay. We don't care about China. We have lost only 278 men, which is not so bad. You go here. You go here. Who's just fighting a war against us? Egypt's just fighting a war against us? They're trying to take the Suez Canal. That's unfortunate. We could end up in like another... We could end up at war with Russia, France, Egypt, and the Chinese. It'd be probably like the largest war I've ever seen for the Reichspakt. The convention is over. Hey, guess what we need to do? We need to make our military better. And if we can get monthly population plus 15%, I think we'll take that. And they have pushed their way through the territory. That is horrible. Do I even have enough men to defend this entire line? I don't even think so, actually. So we're gonna have to kind of move like this to make sure we can at least hold all of our territory. The Constitution is proclaimed. After over 2 months of deliberation and its in voting, the Constitution of the Baltic Federation is henceforth been promulgated. The original document of the Constitution was signed by all representatives presiding in the Constitutional Convention, and copies were published in order to be distributed to all cantons, the University of Riga, and of course the German Empire. Premier for the Landtag, despite his sickly condition, Paul Sheiman chose to read the preamble before the legislators, citing the cause and purpose of the Constitution and the universal rights it seeks to enshrine, and departed from the plutonium with thunderous applause. For now, democracy is victorious. So we're getting 150 political power, 5% recruitable population, minus 5% consumer goods, 50% stability, 10% production efficiency cap. And that seems pretty good for us. So let's try to hold on to the front. The fact that we immediately lost one of our fortifications is just really sad, I would say. We are missing some fighters, but, you know, like, what can I do about that? Can I train more troops? I think so. Again, we only want one. Deploy them here. As long as we're not missing any equipment from that, which we should not be. You know what we want to do? We want to actually take this territory back. We want to take you. We want to push maybe our way into this guy as well. I mean, Russia's actually losing a lot of organization here. We can actually maybe try to push our way into Russia a little bit. And then you're going to move your way to here. You're going to go to here. You're going to keep on advancing this way. We have now made some gains. A little, you know, a little bit of territorial gains that don't hurt anybody. Can you march here? No. You can go to Pskov, though. Competition of the new Landtag. Following the proclamation of the Constitution, new elections have been held by the Baltic Landtag across the provinces. Having successfully transformed the nation according to the liberal vision and proclamation of the Constitution, the DBDP is likely to win a majority of the vote and form a government all by themselves. However, their traditional competitors in the form of the Progressive Reform and State parties have not died down just yet, and may force the party to cooperate with one of them in a coalition. Well, you know, they can win outright. I think that seems okay. Yeah, so you guys can march to here. You guys are falling back. You march here. When you are done with what you're doing, which is falling back, I think you guys can march here. Narva is still holding on. You're sick. So I'm going to put you in charge then. You are going to last stand. And can I put any defensive measures in you? I cannot. At least not quite yet. We will go for, I think, one more in plains for now. You guys march to here. You're still going to where you want to be. And I think, at least for right now, that this is going to be a good time for us to end this episode. So thanks everybody for watching. My name is Answim. If you enjoyed, thumbs up. And not enjoy, thumb down. If you want to see more, subscribe. And goodbye.